There's this really distinct psychological experience that pretty much every single one of us shares, but we almost never talk about it out loud. In this explainer, we're diving into a hidden force, an invisible dynamic that is literally shaping our modern minds. It's quiet, it's automatic, and honestly, it dictates how we feel about ourselves every single day.
You know the exact moment I'm talking about. You're scrolling. You're not thinking deeply, right? You're not sitting there analyzing your life choices or searching for some heavy emotional revelation. You're just passing the time. Your thumb is just casually swiping across the glowing glass of your phone. And then it happens. You see someone doing better than you. Maybe it's a close friend, an old acquaintance, or honestly, a complete stranger you're never going to meet.
And that thought, or actually scratch that, it's more like a feeling, just drops right into your chest, completely uninvited. Why is it not me already? A super subtle, uncomfortable, almost silent shift happens inside you. You don't announce it to the room. You probably don't even admit it to yourself. You didn't choose it. It just happened. Your mind instantly measured itself against another human being.
Okay, let's dive into this. What we're talking about here is the silent reaction. It's a completely involuntary split-second mental measurement. Before logic even has a chance to step in, the comparison is made. But the really unsettling question is, why? Why does the human brain do this so constantly, especially when we know it just creates pain and insecurity? Why are we wired to evaluate our own worth against a random stranger on a screen? Well, to figure out this invisible force, we actually have to look way, way back, far beyond our modern digital lives.
See, this constant comparing, it isn't some modern digital weakness. It's ancient. It is deeply, inextricably wired into the very hardware of human survival. For the vast, vast majority of human history, we didn't live as these fiercely independent individuals navigating a massive globalized world. We lived in small tribes, groups capped by what psychologists call Dunbar's number, which is right around 150 people. And in those groups, your actual survival depended on constantly processing one absolutely vital piece of data: your exact position in the hierarchy.
Your brain was literally built to just scan the room and automatically ask, okay, who is stronger?
Who is more skilled? Who is more valued by the group?
Who's safer and who is at risk? You have to remember, in a world without safety nets, without modern laws, without any guaranteed stability, this constant measuring wasn't just a bad habit. It was literal life or death stakes.
In that ancient dynamic, being respected and valued meant you got access to food, shelter, and protection from the tribe. Falling to the bottom of the hierarchy, being ignored or excluded, that meant absolute vulnerability and extreme danger. Your social standing was basically the only thing keeping you alive, so your brain evolved to evaluate this constantly as a life-saving reflex.
But then the environment changed. The brain, however, didn't. And this is exactly where modern life becomes psychologically fascinating and, honestly, a little bit dangerous. Today, your physical survival doesn't depend on your tribal status. You can buy your own groceries, you have a roof over your head, but your primitive brain, it still behaves as if your life is entirely on the line every single time you see someone else succeed.
Instead of comparing physical strength or how well you can hunt, our ancient survival software now fixates on these brand new metrics. We're talking lifestyle, success, physical appearance, intelligence, our relationships, social validation. Your primitive brain is actively treating a casual post on a screen or a passing comment or a heavily curated photo as literal survival information.
And you know what the most overwhelming part is? It's constant. Think about it. In the past, you only ever compared yourself to maybe 30 or 40 people in your immediate physical vicinity. Today, modern society and social media have created something that is absolutely unprecedented in the entire history of our species. We are hit with a continuous, never-ending stream of curated human existence.
And this brilliantly illustrates what might be the ultimate tragedy of the digital age, a fundamental psychological mismatch. We are constantly consuming the polished external presentations of everyone else, their highlight reels, their massive achievements, and we measure all of that directly against our own messy, unedited internal experience. You see their supreme confidence on the outside, but you're intimately feeling your own hesitation on the inside.
This mismatch creates an incredibly powerful, often exhausting emotional tension. Because comparison actually does two things at the exact same time. It motivates us, but it also wounds us. It inspires, sure, but it deeply destabilizes. It pushes your ambition forward while quietly chipping away at your self-worth.
And what that creates is this exhausting behavioral cycle, the ambition loop. You achieve something, and you feel this great temporary satisfaction, but then, almost immediately, your brain scans the environment again, generates a brand new insecurity, which sparks a new motivation, and the whole shebang starts over.
Why? Because the target moves again. Literally, the moment you reach a goal, your mind just expands the reference point. Suddenly, someone else is ahead. Someone else is faster. Someone else is richer or happier or better looking. And it's not because you're fundamentally an ungrateful person. It's simply because this ancient comparison system was never designed to give you peace. It was designed to detect differences.
Which brings us to the real core of why modern comparison feels so incredibly heavy. The human mind was never, ever designed for an infinite scale. There are no natural limits or boundaries anymore. You aren't just comparing yourself to the people in your village or your city. You are comparing yourself to the entire globe. We're talking millions of curated achievements playing out right in the palm of your hand every single day.
There are no natural boundaries left. There is only endless visibility. And the harsh reality is, endless visibility creates endless evaluation.
Eventually, we slip into a state of what you might call emotional distortion. Because the reference point is constantly moving, our comparison totally loses its grounding in reality. You can end up feeling fundamentally behind in life without even being able to clearly define what being behind even means anymore. We stop comparing logical facts and we start comparing distorted feelings. Their success feels massive. Your progress feels totally invisible. Their life feels perfectly clear, while yours just feels hopelessly uncertain.
What was once a totally natural tool for social orientation has essentially mutated. Back in our origins, comparison gave us necessary guidance and situational awareness. Today, it is shifted into harsh judgment, relentless self-evaluation, and this uncompromising daily measurement of our own self-worth. It stopped being a simple survival tool a long time ago, and it's become a punishing metric for our value as individual human beings. It has truly become a silent emotional force. And the really profound realization here is that we aren't suffering simply because we compare ourselves to others. We are suffering because we cannot stop. Even when we know it hurts us, even when we put the phone down and step away from the screen. It's like this internal background process running constantly in the mind, no matter where our attention goes, just quietly rewriting how we see ourselves. As long as we live in an environment flooded with visible success, this invisible force is going to continuously shape our emotions.
Which leads us to the deepest and perhaps the most haunting question of all. If our ambitions, our insecurities, our motivations, and even our very identities are constantly being shaped by measuring ourselves against this endless, curated stream of other people, how much of what we call self-worth is actually self, and how much of it is simply just reflection? Thanks for watching this explainer. We'll see you in the next one.